Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Mukhtar Kasim. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. Let's begin from election matters, where the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) will begin a nationwide voter registration revalidation exercise on April 13, 2026, as part of preparations for the 2027 general elections. The Commission says the phased exercise will move from local government areas to registration areas and polling units, targeting long-standing issues such as duplicate entries, underage registration, and inaccurate voter data. INEC has already commenced training of personnel and insists the exercise is critical to restoring public confidence and ensuring the credibility and integrity of Nigeria's electoral process. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), Professor Josh Amupitan, has called for a more robust and adaptive legal framework to address emerging governance challenges in Nigeria's fast-evolving digital landscape. Amupitan made the call while chairing the 47th Founders Day lecture of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies held at the Ayo Ajomo Auditorium, University of Lagos. He stated that technological advancement has significantly altered governance structures globally, stressing the need for Nigeria's legal and institutional framework to keep pace in order to safeguard democratic processes. Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed has held a closed-door meeting with members of the All Progressive Congress (APC) national leadership at the Government House in Bauchi, in a development that has drawn political attention. The meeting, attended by APC National Chairman Nentawe Yilwatada and Kano State Governor Abba Yusuf, was held without media access, with all parties declining to comment on the discussions. The engagement comes amid rising speculations over possible political realignment, especially following Mohammed's recent indication of interest in joining the African Democratic Congress (ADC). In the meantime, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) has insisted that former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido is to be retried by the original trial judge in compliance with the Supreme Court directive. Proceedings at the Federal High Court in Abuja were adjourned to April 30 as the prosecution awaits a response from the Chief Judge on granting fiat to Justice Ijoma Ojukwu to conclude the matter. Lamido and others are facing a 37-count charge bordering on alleged 1.35 billion naira money laundering linked to contract awarded during his tenure in office. In a related development, a Federal High Court sitting in Kaduna State has fixed April 14, 2026 to deliver its ruling on the bail application filed by former Governor Nasiru El-Rufai. The court ordered that he remains in the custody of the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission (ICPC) after hearing arguments from both sides, with the prosecution raising concerns about possible interference with witnesses and ongoing investigation. El-Rufai, who is facing allegations of financial misconduct and abuse of office, appeared in court under tight security as political interest in the case continue to grow. The federal government says Nigeria will not bow to criminal elements as efforts intensify to restore peace in Plateau State. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, stated this during a press briefing in Abuja while addressing the recent attacks in Angwan Rukuba, Jos North. Sadia Yakubu reports.
The minister expressed condolences to families of victims and the government and people of Plateau State. He said security agencies responded swiftly with troops under Operation Enduring Peace immediately deployed to secure the area and track down the attackers. According to him, the prompt intervention contained the situation and prevented further escalation. He said that sustained military and intelligence-led operations, increased surveillance and joint patrols by security agencies are already in place to forestall further attacks.
This response is part of a broader and sustained federal government security architecture in Plateau State and the wider North Central region. The Nigerian Armed Forces have continued to carry out clearance operations and intelligence-led missions across vulnerable communities following attacks recorded in recent months.
The minister assured that the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu remains committed to tackling insecurity through coordinated strategies. He disclosed that the president has met with security chiefs to review the situation and take decisive action. Idris also revealed that Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang has been invited for further consultations. He acknowledged that 48-hour curfew imposed in Jos North by the state government is to stabilize the area. Describing the attack as regrettable, the minister said it does not signal a breakdown of security, assuring that perpetrators will be brought to justice.
A few hours ago, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has held a high-level meeting with the nation's top security and intelligence chiefs to review the situation in Plateau State and in other areas and take further decisive steps towards arriving at a lasting solution. Following this meeting, the Executive Governor of Plateau State, His Excellency Caleb Manasseh Mutfwang, has been invited by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to Abuja to chart a coordinated path towards lasting peace and security.
He reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to strengthening intelligence, boosting security operations, and ensuring lasting peace nationwide. Sadia Yakubu for Global TV News.
Meanwhile, the Senate has directed the Inspector General of Police, Tunji Disu, to commence a comprehensive investigation into the recent killings in Angwan-Rukuba, Jos North Local Government Area of Plateau State, where at least 28 persons were reportedly killed. The lawmakers also resolved to send a delegation led by Senate President Godswill Akpabio to commiserate with the affected communities. National Assembly correspondent Anyeti Patrick reports.
The resolutions followed a motion of urgent public importance sponsored by Senator Dinkat Blank, Plateau Central, and Senator Dachong Nwakon, Plateau North, who raised concerns over the worsening security situation in Kanam and Jos North local government areas. Leading debate on the motion, Blank lamented that Plateau State, once celebrated as the home of peace and tourism, has witnessed a resurgence of violent attacks after years of relative stability.
Senate further note that this recent attack appears to be a well-coordinated and well-orchestrated targeting defenseless citizens in a densely populated area bubbling with social, economic, and religious activities.
Contributing to the debate, lawmakers expressed concern over what they describe as the increasing complex nature of the crisis, noting its economic, ethnic, and religious dimensions. They urged the Senate leadership to expedite the proposed National Security Summit if it would produce practical solutions to the country's growing security challenges.
What is the fate of our security summit now? Because the same thing is happening everywhere. Today, surprisingly, it has even moved into security.
Recently in my senatorial district, during fasting, Carlos Lize went in Dandime local government, they kill about 18 people. And most of these people are ISWAP and they are operating in Africa.
The frequency at which these people arrive is worrisome. And what are we going to do about it? We are admonishing that a sincere and heavy approach to this type of wickedness should.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Deputy President of the Senate, Jibrin Barau, urged security agencies to adopt proactive strategies, including permanent bases in volatile areas, improved intelligence, and increased recruitment into the police and armed forces, reaffirming that the protection of lives and property remains a primary responsibility of government.
Prayer 2. Direct the Inspector General of Police to commence investigations and bring the culprits to face the full wrath of the law. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
It is, however, hoped that the perpetrators will be brought to book owing to the mourning the state is being thrown into. From the National Assembly, Anyeti Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
Now, April 1st, known globally as April Fool's Day, once celebrated for light-hearted pranks and humors, is now being viewed differently by many Nigerians as economic pressures continue to bite harder. Zara Unasir reports.
It's obvious that most Nigerians don't do April Fool like before. This could be as a result of the economic hardship and other personal reasons. Notwithstanding, Nigerians have different opinions about April Fool. Across the world, April Fool's Day is traditionally marked as a time for harmless jokes, playful tricks, and moments of shared laughter among friends, families, and communities. Studies have shown that well-meaning humor and light pranks can help reduce stress levels, strengthen social bonds, and improve overall well-being. However, while the tradition dates back centuries, its exact origin remains unclear, with historians tracing possible roots to early European customs, particularly in France. But in Nigeria, the mood is noticeably different this year. With rising living costs and growing economic challenges, many citizens say the idea of April Fool's Day has taken back a seat to more present daily realities. Some Nigerians interviewed say survival has become the priority, with little room left for jokes or playful pranks, as many focus on meeting basic needs.
We don't just move around trying to fool people because we are thinking about things that we are going to solve. As we wake up every morning, things are waiting for us to take care of. That's just it. We don't have that time to prank people.
April Fool is all about the pranks on people. I would say it's not common again in Nigeria because an average Nigerian now is focused on what and how to bring food on his or her own table. Talk more of thinking about April Fool. The economy is hard, so people no longer think about that.
It's about pranking. It's a day where people just, give you false information about something. Nigerians have not forgotten about April Fool. The truth is that there's economic hardship. People are busy thinking about how to survive right now. Look at the cost of fuel. Things are very hard and difficult for the common man. So it's no jokes. It's no jokes.
As April Fool's Day is marked across the globe, experts and observers say the tradition should remain light-hearted, safe, and respectful, ensuring that humor continues to unite rather than mislead or offend, even in difficult times. Zahra Unasir, reporting for Global TV.
You're watching the live broadcast of News Cycle. News Cycle continues after this weather forecasts plus business, foreign, and sports stories. On the other side of this break, please stay with us.
Hello and you're welcome to the forecast. We had the rainstorm that swept across the country from Monday into Tuesday morning. The northeast felt the brunt of this storm as electric poles and weak structures were brought down, while the central states felt the strength of this storm as it lasted for around 9 to 10 hours. We had reports of rainfall as much as 87 millimeters, 58 and 30 millimeters respectively coming out of Nasarawa, Kogi and the Federal Capital Territory. This brought down the temperatures, bringing relief from the heat that's been on the ground. As we go into Wednesday, we expect some slight lull in rainfall activities. Clear skies should prevail over much of the north and parts of the central states, even though we still have a few prospects of rains to parts of the central state, speaking about Kogi and southern Benue State, parts of the southeast, south, and the southwestern part of the country, even though these rains are not expected to be as much as what we had on Monday. Thank you for watching.
And welcome back from that break. Let's begin the second half of this broadcast with business, where the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says 33 banks have successfully raised a combined 4.65 trillion naira to meet new capital requirements under its recapitalization program. The Apex Bank noted that the exercise, which attracted both domestic and foreign investment, has significantly strengthened the resilience of the financial system and its capacity to absorb economic shocks. CBN added that the process was completed without disrupting banking operations, positioning the sector to better support long-term economic growth. The Nigerian Senate has approved additional external borrowings of $5 billion from the First Abu Dhabi Bank and another £1 billion from the United Kingdom Export Finance. The approval followed a request by President Bola Tinubu, which was read on the floor of the Red Chamber. Uyi Agbamofoibe reports that the Senate also at plenary extended the expiry date of the capital component of the 2025 budget from 31st March 2026 to 30th June 2026.
The presidential correspondence read on the floor of the Senate on Tuesday from President Bola Tinubu explained that the external borrowing is aimed at supporting budget implementation and critical infrastructure upgrades. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, who read the communication, said while the $5 billion is intended to plug financing gaps in the 2026 budget, the £1 billion will be deployed for the rehabilitation of Lagos ports.
The establishment of a structured total return swap TRS external financing program of up to USD 5 billion with First Abu Dhabi Bank. Those in support say aye, those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Also at plenary, the Senate extended the expiry dates of the 2025 budget from 31st March 2026 to 30th June 2026. Presenting the bill before the Senate, Majority Leader Okpeyemi Bamidele and Deputy President of the Senate, Jibrin Barau, said the extension became necessary to enable the completion of ongoing capital projects across the country.
This situation, if not urgently addressed, risks exacerbating the already troubling incidents of abandoned or partially executed projects across the country. It's very, very important that time should be given so that the projects that have been started, that are ongoing, be concluded. Otherwise, we'll go into the problem of abandoned projects, which is inimical to our progress.
With lawmakers backing fresh external financing and granting more time for capital spending, the move signals government's push to bridge funding gaps and fast-track key infrastructure projects nationwide. Uyi Agbamofoibe reporting for Global TV News.
The Senate has approved a massive 68.32 trillion naira budget for the 2026 fiscal year, following the adoption of an expanded spending proposal by President Bola Tinubu. National Assembly correspondent Anita Patrick reports.
The approval comes after lawmakers endorsed an upward review of the initial budget framework by about 9.09 trillion naira. The Senate also extended the capital component of the 2025 budget to June 31st, allowing more time for the execution of ongoing projects. To fund the ambitious budget, the federal government is banking on a mix of increased revenues and fresh borrowing. A $10 increase in oil benchmark price is projected to generate over 2.5 trillion naira, while reforms in the telecommunications sector could bring in about 874 billion naira. However, over 6 trillion naira is expected to come from external borrowing to bridge the funding gap.
An increase in the external borrowing by 6.16 trillion naira. All this combined together partly was used to reduce the debt burden from the revenue from the telecommunication, while the combination of the $10 increment and that of the external borrowing was used to fund the additional 9 trillion request made by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Lawmakers say the budget is designed to fast-track infrastructure development, strengthen institutions, and stimulate economic growth.
And our rules allow by Rule 39, but they have done a fantastic job, and I'm very impressed. And I must commend them for this report, which has been sent to us, and congratulate all senators. And pray that these $5 billion, so approved by the Nigerian Senate today, will assist this administration to meet its capital obligations and then take Nigeria out of the current financial doldrums. I thank all of you.
The 2026 appropriation signals one of Nigeria's largest spending plans yet, with expectations that increase investments in transport, governance, and public services will boost productivity and improve service delivery across the country. From the National Assembly, Aniete Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
And now to the foreign scene, where medical charity Doctors Without Borders says Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces and allied militias are using sexual violence as a weapon of war in Darfur to control civilians. The Sudanese army and rapid support forces have been locked in a brutal conflict since April 2023 that has killed tens of thousands, displaced around 11 million people, and has been marked by widespread sexual violence. Zara Nasir has details.
Between January 2024 and November 2025, at least 3,396 survivors of sexual violence, 97% of them women and girls, sought treatment at facilities supported by Doctors Without Borders in North and South Darfur. Survivors are believed to have frequently and clearly identified those responsible as the RSF fighters. Testimonies from 150 victims during the RSF's April attack on Zamzam camp, which sheltered nearly 500,000 people, indicate they targeted ethnic groups, particularly the non-Arab Zagawa community.
3,396. That's the number of people that we know have been through that. This is the tip of the iceberg. This report here doesn't show the full reality, the full scale of the sexual violence that women are facing in Sudan.
Women and girls contribute to 97% of the survivors, which was 3,396. So 97% of these women and young girls, of which a greater percentage or a greater number is linked to the Rapid Support Forces, which is the RSF. This is not just a word, but these are testimonies given to us in the clinics by the survivors who come to our hospital.
Many women describe being assaulted away from the front lines while going about their daily activities on roads, in farms, markets, and displacement camps. MSF identified 732 survivors of sexual violence in displacement camps in the month between December 2025 and January this year. Some assaulted while fleeing or within the camps. Zahra Nasir, reporting for Global TV.
South Africa has deployed 2,200 soldiers across several provinces to support police in tackling rising violent crime, gang activity, and illicit mining operations. Authorities say the one-year deployment is aimed at restoring order in high-risk areas including parts of Gauteng, Western Cape, and Eastern provinces. However, security analysts caution that while the military presence may provide short-term relief, it may not address the root cause of the crime in the long term. And now talking sport, the 2026 FIFA World Cup will kick off on Thursday, June 11, with host nation Mexico taking on South Africa in Mexico City as the expanded 48-team tournament begins its group stage across venues in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. The competition, which for the first time features 12 groups of 4 teams each, will run through the end of June before the knockout round begin. The 12 groups for the tournament were confirmed after the conclusion of both the European and intercontinental playoffs. In the meantime, Africa will have a record 10 teams at the 2026 FIFA World Cup following the expansion of the tournament format. Traditional powerhouses such as Morocco, Egypt, and Senegal will be joined by emerging teams including Cape Verde and DR Congo, highlighting the growing competitiveness of African football. The increased representation is expected to boost the continent's global profile and raise expectations for deeper runs in the tournament. Lastly, in sport, Italy's sports minister has called for the resignation of the Football Federation president, Gabriele Gravina, following the nation's team failure to qualify for a third consecutive World Cup. The Azzurri were eliminated in the playoffs, intensifying scrutiny over leadership and the state of football development in the country, while Gravina has refused to step down. A crucial board meeting is expected to determine its future amidst growing pressure for reforms. Now that's it on News Cycle. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across all our social media platforms now showing on your screen using at Global TV NG. I am Mukhtar Kasim. Say a very big thank you for watching.